Hello and welcome to the Leadership Potential Instructional Program. My name is Rebecca and I'll be walking you through this program and sharing some of my experiences through this process. Let's get started. Your leadership potential is composed of three main things: organizational studies, leadership as a relationship builder, and visioning and leadership as a social architect. The first category is organizational studies. Organizational studies. What are they and why are they important? In their book, International Encyclopedia of Organization Studies, Stuart Clegg and James Russell Bailey define organizational studies as the examination of how individuals construct organizational structures, processes, and practices, and how these in turn shape social relations and create institutions that ultimately influence people. Understanding the rationale behind who people are and how they think opens the door to better communication and relationships, both in business and personal realms. Within organizational studies is a category of employee engagement. And no, it is not talking about the marriage kind. Employee engagement speaks about how interested employees are in their work, which fosters an environment of creativity and precision. In their work, Inclusive Leadership and Work Engagement, Choi, Tran, and Park quote a Gallup poll about employee engagement collected from 140 countries. While every company's ideal is 100% of their employees to be engaged in their work, Gallup reveals that the global average percent of work engagement was 13%. Only 30% of U.S. employees were engaged in their work, and the levels of engagement in Australia, South Korea, Japan, and China were reported as 24%, 11%, 7%, and 6% respectively. As this comparative chart shows, there is a dramatic void from ideal employee engagement, and businesses must discover and implement what engages employees in the workplace through organizational studies. Thousands of resources are available for free online on how to engage employees, one of which is an article on the website nutcash.com, which has a detailed 13-point list on ideas for engaging your employees. Next is building trust. The biggest factor in an organization's engagement is trust between the leaders and followers. Xuan Liu proposed in his research article that trust mediates the relationship between ethical leadership and organizational citizenship behavior. The results showed that ethical leadership had a significant main effect on both organizationally and individually directed citizenship behavior. In addition, cognitive trust had no significant mediating effect on the relationships, but affective trust fully mediated these relationships. Using this information, we can see that it is imperative that all employees, but especially the leaders, try to earn their followers' trust by developing a career style that genuinely shows concern for their followers' best interest. Most people can tell when someone is being real with them or just faking it, and no one likes to be conned. An example of fake relationships at work. While I don't think that every relationship at work needs to have deep-rooted meaning and connection, I have had experience with managers who are great at forming surface-level fake relationships with their employees. They are easily mislabeled as workaholics, abrupt, in their own world, or just busy, when the reality is that they do not genuinely care enough about their employees to help them advance in their careers or see to it that they have the necessary tools they need to perform their assigned tasks. This causes employees to feel unwanted, unappreciated, and unwelcome when they have questions or need assistance with their projects. My previous manager got in the habit of letting out a big sigh when I came into his office. Instead of telling me what his frustration was, his habit continued until I initiated a conversation with him to discuss what was bothering him. He told me that the certain way I was presenting my questions distracted him and suggested another way for me to present my questions. The new format made sense to me, so I started using it and things went better. Unfortunately, I as a follower had to take the initiative to approach him about the situation, when a better leader would have addressed the issue at the beginning. Because my manager did not have a genuine interest in communicating with me, our relationship remained at arm's length and very little trust was ever established. The second category in our Leadership Potential program is to discover your leadership as a relationship builder. Chances are, if you work or have worked at a job you love, you developed some relationships there. Good relationships aid in a positive work environment, employee engagement, and lower turnover. Yagil and Lariz say that great leaders should install norms of openness and honesty by striving for these qualities in their interpersonal interactions, by demonstrating such qualities, and by displaying expectations that followers will do the same. This promotes followers' trust, allowing the latter to express themselves honestly. People will often do more and be more when they are in a trusting environment, so it is imperative that leaders learn to develop their work relationships to enhance employees' self-improvement and ultimately company revenue through their team members' comfort and creativity. Further discussing what makes authentic leaders, Hinojosa et al. Says that the authentic leadership theory posits that the authenticity of leaders and followers is influenced by their personal histories. Attachment theory states that individuals have internal working models that are influenced by both early developmental experiences and relationships later in life. These models guide how people interact with close others and tend toward three styles of attachment: secure, insecure ambivalent, and insecure avoidant. We argue that securely attached persons are most likely to exhibit authentic leadership followership. How do you know what kind of attachment you are? Take some personality and leadership surveys to find out. I've taken several in the past month and the results have been enlightening. Using the 16 personalities test, I confirmed that I enjoy taking a backstage position if I come across a leader whom I know I can trust. I feel like I can work harder and with more detail when I'm not taking point and getting distracted with seemingly needless paperwork and red tape. As a caring introvert, I can work alone or in a group and like supporting leaders I believe in and coworkers who seem genuine. While I like to help people and often participate in activities such as rescue efforts and charity work, my real passion is to get to the heart of the issue so that people need not be rescued at all. When I am a fully engaged employee, as defined by Baker 2007, I have high levels of energy and am able to direct that energy towards work, am highly concentrated on my work, and able to cope with adversity. The last category in discovering one's leadership potential is that in visioning and leadership as a social architect. In the Leadership Quarterly, authors Stamm, Kittenberg, and Weiss say that communicating an inspiring vision of the future is essential for leaders to mobilize followers, and that one of the reasons why some visions may be more motivating than others is that they lead followers to create an ideal possible self, i.e., one's most desired image of oneself. Most people have an ideal image they would like to embody one day, but few have the motivation or inspiration to follow through with obtaining their ideal self. It is the responsibility of great leaders to research and implement motivational techniques to help their team members obtain their personal and professional goals and to help them become the best individual they can be. Quoting Seltzer et al. In their article, Nelsena and Murenby rehearsed that transformational leaders are those who broaden and elevate the interests of their followers, generate awareness and commitment of individuals to the purpose and mission of the group, and they enable subordinates to transcend their own self-interest for the betterment of the group. One of their subcategories about transformational leaders is that they provide inspirational motivation, where the leader formulates a clear and attractive vision and exhibits high expectations of followers that they may reach this vision. As stated in my Leadership Style Notebook essay, one of my 3 predominant leadership styles is being a visionary and setting goals to make my dreams or necessary tasks a reality. Merely working for the sake of working is pointless to me, and I hope that my coworkers and teammates find their work fulfilling and meaningful. I constantly evaluate and analyze how to further perfect our processes to automate, double-check, and otherwise ease my teammates' workload so that we can accomplish our tasks faster and with more orderly detail. The results from the 16 personality survey say that my kind of personality will commonly follow through on my ideas and commitments with conviction, willpower, and the planning necessary to see complex projects through to completion. That fits me to a T. I'm motivated by imagining a greater good and believe in it so strongly that I take detailed steps to make it come to life. To conclude this presentation, let's bring this subject full circle. What should I do when I need to collaborate with people who think differently from me? Well, to start, taking a big scoop of patience is vital because the ongoing process of understanding others does not happen overnight. Because they think differently from me and have different experiences, I recognize that their advice and experience can be valid and useful to better the company. Secondly, my experience with neglectful managers has taught me how not to be a manager and that meaningful collaboration with others takes engagement and trust building. Next, as a relationship builder, I need to be genuine and relational with my coworkers because most people appreciate realism in their relationships. Lastly, as a visionary, I need to keep the image of transformational leadership in my mind and broaden and elevate my coworkers' interests while enabling them to do their best work. This concludes our presentation of the instructional program to discover your leadership potential. Thanks for listening.